Thanks so much for that wonderful introduction. I always say when someone gives me such a great introduction, I wish two of the women in my life would have been here to hear it. My wife and my late mother. I want you to know my late wonderful Jewish mother would have believed and loved everything you said, and my wife would have wondered who the heck you were talking about. You married people out there understand what I'm saying. I'm really happy to join you, and I'm happy to see so many of you here. It really makes a difference when pro-Israel Zionist groups come to Capitol Hill and speak. It's noticed, it's helpful. People sometimes say to me, does it really matter? You schlep yourself out of wherever you live and come to Washington. Yes, it matters. We're happy you're here, and we want you to come back, and we want you to keep on doing what you've been doing, which is promoting the U.S.-Israel relationship. I do that every day. Every day I can, every second I can. I try to do it because I think it's just so important. It's so important. It's important for us who feel Israel in our hearts, but it's important for the United States, who has no better friend than the state of Israel. And that will endure, believe me. I want to give special thanks to the American Zionist movement and my constituent Herb Block for all his efforts in organizing today's special event, and all of you who work on to strengthen the U.S.-Israel partnership. Today, we're celebrating the creation of a national homeland for the Jewish people. 100 years since the British government signed the Balfour Declaration. You know, I Googled Balfour Declaration. I've known about it forever, but I've never read it. I know what it said, and I know what it did. And I Googled it. I got so many pages coming out. It was really interesting to read those words and to really understand. 100 years ago, could anyone have imagined that the state of Israel would be what it is today, a powerhouse in so many ways, and the best ally of the United States in so many ways. 100 years since the British government signed the Balfour Declaration. We celebrated at the British Embassy a couple of weeks ago with the British ambassador. And of course, the Balfour Declaration, if we had to boil it down, was a public statement supporting the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in what was then Palestine. And that was really, really significant. And it's too bad that the official establishment of the State of Israel came after the show and didn't come before. Think of how many more brilliant people there would be in the world, how many more Nobel Prize winners, how many more people who do what Israel does every single day. So I think we owe it to them, we owe it to our families, we owe it to ourselves to continue to support Israel as strongly as we can in every way we can. The proclamation of the Balfour Declaration galvanized support for the Zionist movement and provided a strong and sturdy foundation for the state of Israel. A century on, the Jewish state has proven itself time and time again to be a vibrant democracy and a nation that prioritizes innovation, liberal values, democracy, and freedom. And I'm proud of how Israel allows access to all holy sites, as Jerusalem is a holy city for three religions. In this sense, Israel is a model for religious pluralism and has much to teach the rest of the region. My record in Congress, and as said, I want you to know, is second to none when it comes to reaffirming the Jewish connection to the state of Israel. I have fought for Israel to be listed as a place of birth on American passports. In 1990, I wrote the first resolution to pass the House, which supported a unified Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And I voted numerous times to move the American embassy to Jerusalem, the eternal capital of Israel. In the United States, we would be very angry if governments, foreign governments, started to open their embassies in Chicago. Why is it different with Israel? And when I'm told by some of the friendly Arab leaders, well, you have to understand the Arab street would really be up in arms, I always say, well, you created the Arab street. You're the ones that told them to hate Israel and hate Jews, and it's about time somebody stood up and said, no, that's not right, and things are going to change. So you can't use something, you can't teach people bad things and then use it as an excuse for not moving on to better things. So the U.S.-Israel relationship must remain strong and must remain bipartisan. I'm proud to be here with Democrats and Republicans alike to show our support. I always say, you know what, presidents come and go, prime ministers come and go, members of Knesset come and go, presidents come and go, members of Congress come and go. I don't want to go so quickly though. But the U.S.-Israel relationship remains strong, and that's what my goal is. So it almost wouldn't matter who's president of the United States or prime minister or who's in Congress, who's in the Knesset. I want to continue to make the relationship so intertwined between Israel and the United States that it's just a natural progression. And there are times we have some difficulties with certain people and certain parties and whatever, but that they're a minority. And we have time and time again, Ed Royce and I, who's the chairman of the committee on foreign affairs, and I'm the ranking member, we work together across the aisle to sponsor legislation. And in all the pro-Israel legislation and things that we put forward, we've been very successful in getting 360, 370, 380 votes out of 435. I think that's pretty darn good, and I think it's a great consensus to show support to Israel. So the U.S.-Israel relationship has to be unbreakable. Yesterday, in the Foreign Affairs Committee, we advanced more strong bipartisan legislation to help strengthen Israel's security. We unanimously passed what we call the Taylor Force Act, which cracks down on the Palestinians' authorities' so-called martyr payments. I'm sure you all know about it, but for a few of you who may not, we found out that we've known that what the Palestinian Authority does is when a terrorist maims and kills and hurts someone, their families, and even if they're killed, their families get extra payments. They call them martyrs' payments. And we don't think the United States should pay for it. We don't think the PA should be able to use those things. And so this would prevent any money from going to the Palestinian Authority, with rare exceptions, to make sure that these martyrs' payments end and stop once and for all. So we worked together on this, Democrats and Republicans, to ensure that we had a bipartisan product and send a message to the Palestinians that these payments are wrong, and there is no corner of the United States House of Representatives in which they will find support for these terrorist incentives. I was proud Congress passed new Iran sanctions with an overwhelming bipartisan majority. Iran is the largest state sponsor of terrorism. It continues to destabilize the Middle East, threatening Israel and other allies of the United States. And we need to hold Iran's feet to the fire on all of their dangerous activities. I think you know I voted against the Iran deal, which JCPOA was very angry about it. And would let Iran know that we're not bamboozled by their nonsense or by their anti-Semitic rants. We call them for what they are, the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, and we're going to continue to sanction them for helping terrorism, sanction them for ballistic missile tests, sanction them for all the other things they do. So I want to thank you in conclusion. Thank you for being a partner to me and to others as well. It's nice to know that when we get out there, you have our backs, and let us continue to work together. Your gathering here today really ensures that the Congress bears witness to this momentous 100-year anniversary. Your passion helps to inform our decision-making, and I welcome the opportunity to be with you today. And I want to finish by saying, Yisrael.